Transistor radio, glowing magic transistor radio, magic transistor radio, glowing magic. Hello YouTube and YouTubettes, welcome to an album review. I have a very special formula that I use to make grades, so you will hear fractions and like a 5.73 or whatever. I won't give that away, but in this video, I would like to review the Starlight Mints album, Built on Squares. This was released on May 20th, 2003 on the label PIAS America. The producers were Alan Vest, Andy Nunez, and Trent Bell. And I don't have much information on this album. It's just one of those that I found over the years browsing record stores back in the early 2000s into more recent years, and I loved it. So that's a little bit about Starlight Mints. The album cover has no info. I do think it's a good album cover. Its impression has a jazz style look to it, and it's kind of that artistic thing. And I wouldn't necessarily call this music jazz, but I give it a 9 out of 10 for the cover. Now on to the songs. The first song is called Black Cat, and this one has got some really sweet instrumentation arrangements. It's a really catchy song as well. I think this is a really strong song all the way around. It's kind of got that sort of 90s alternative, but taking it somewhere new, which a lot of groups are doing in the early 2000s, going, well, even back in the late 90s. But I think this is a great song. I give it an 8.6 out of 10. The next song is called Brass Digger, and I forgot to mention before that all songs are written by Alan Vest, Andy Nunez, and Marion Nunez. Anyway, I think this song is a little bit catchier than the first, although it starts out a little slower, but it kind of picks up on this sort of Neil Young vibe. It's a little slightly under artistically than the first, but it picks up catchiness-wise, and the lyrics are a little bit more accessible, but I give this one an 8.8 out of 10. The next song is Gold Star, and this is another very catchy song. Does a little lower on the artistic side, but it's still great production and arrangements. And I do love this song. It pulls me in. It's kind of got a 90s vibe, especially at the beginning, and then it goes into this kind of symphonic rock. I love it. I give it an 8.4 out of 10. The next song is called Pages, and this kind of starts out a bit with a quirky arrangements, and then it gets into this interesting, catchy section. But I really love this repetitive, I believe it's a keyboard playing like 4 notes while he's doing a bunch of other stuff over the top of that, and it's got a really catchy chorus as well. This is a great song all the way around. I give it an 8.8 out of 10. The next song is called Buenavista, and this is a bit more quirky, more of an artistic piece, sort of psychedelic, avant-garde, however you want to put it. It's got a 60s feel to it, but with more modern synthesizers in there a little bit. But yes, I really do love this piece. It's very interesting. I give it an 8.8 out of 10. The next song is called Irene, and this has some very interesting instrumentation to it. It's once again another quirky piece with some farting synths, and then some xylophones, and then it gets to some guitars
and other things. Oh, trumpets come in along the way. But I would say that when he starts singing, it's a very 90s alternative rock kind of song with instrumentation and production that's a little different. So this was more on the catchiness side, a little less artistic, but it's still a really good song. I give it an 8.6 out of 10. The next song is Rinky Dinky, and it's kind of catchy. It's got some interesting things going on as well. It doesn't quite pull me in. It doesn't quite pull me in as much as a lot of the other songs, but I do think it's still very solid. I like the way he kind of sings in this song, where it's almost spoken but with a little bit of a melody. And I give this song an 8.0 out of 10. The next song is Zillion Eyes, and this is my favorite song on the album. I tend to like things that are both beautiful and strange, and this definitely fits that. This is a wonderful song, kind of on the slow end, and I give it a 9.4 out of 10. The next song is called Jack in the Squares, and this starts out with some interesting percussion and rhythms, and this song doesn't pull me in as much as many of them. This is probably one of my least favorite songs on the album. I put the lowest mark in terms of artistic side of it, and but it is very catchy, and so it does well on that side of things. But I give this one an 8.2 out of 10. The next song is called San Diego. This is another one of those catchy songs, a bit more rockin', less artistic. It does have some interesting points to it. I will say that this one pulls me in a bit more for the ones that are just more basic rock type songs. It's very solid, and I give it an 8.4 out of 10. The last song on the album is called Jiminy Cricket, and it has kind of this surf guitar thing that begins the song, and then it grooves along with something that sounds somewhat like a theremin, but I'm not sure what that is. It's like a vibrating sound, and then it kind of just goes along and the rest of it doesn't really pull me in. I just like the beginning quite a bit. It's not that I don't like the rest of the song. The rest of the song is catchy enough. Overall, this song is pretty solid. I give it an 8.2 out of 10. The album flow is great. It's got a similar style throughout, and it's got a vision, united vision, and I give the album flow a 10 out of 10. I really do enjoy this style of music. It's got a lot of instrumentation to it, and really the only thing that makes it different than, say, a lot of the bands from the 90s is the instrumentation and arrangements. That makes it a lot more interesting to me. It's very up and happy kind of music for the most part, and I really love it. So now I will pull out my handy dandy computer and calculate my formula. And this album gets an 8.71 out of 10. Thank you and have a wonderful day.